Good morning. And I have Vanessa with the Children's Village with me. She is the Director of Charitable Giving for the Children's Village. And I am super excited to chat with her today. We're going to talk about something really important. But first, tell me a little bit about you and your background in nonprofits.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I am Vanessa. I've been in the nonprofit world for 12 years now, 12 years plus. So in college, I figured out quickly that it was a nonprofit sector that I wanted to work in. I liked the service to others. I went to a Jesuit university, and I really aligned very much with the worldly religion perspective, and then also just that gift to others, whether it be through religion or serving. So I planned air shows. I planned the Cleveland National Air Show and drove Thunderbirds to 4 a.m. news interviews and got them, other celebrity people up that I shouldn't name after having too much of a party before we had to get to a news station. So that's kind of where I started in my nonprofit sector. And then after college, I started my 10 years at the American Cancer Society. So I started with grassroots fundraising through our Relay for Life campaign. And then over the 10 years, my husband is a Coeur d'Alene native and a military Marine pilot. So we moved a lot. And in that time, I was able to kind of jump in and out of my nonprofit work. And then I went to San Diego when we were at Miramar and did big corporate golf and gala events for the American Cancer Society. We raised about $500,000 every year. And then I also rewrote the volunteer onboarding process for the American Cancer Society. So that was my job prior to this role here at the Children's Village, which I'm super honored to be a part of.
Yes, so we're going to kind of jump into something that really exciting happened last week. Um, Her brain power, I'm guessing that was most your thought, but she did a Facebook Live auction event and raised $23,000.
Yeah, it's up to $25,000.
Yeah.
It was really Naomi at Vine and Olive. She approached us. She was texting me one night. I have the pleasure of serving with her in the Leadership Coeur d'Alene 2020 class. So we've gotten to know each other through the village and through leadership. And she texted me and she's like, I just want to do something good. It feels yucky right now. We're all in it. And so we just came up with this cool idea. She was kind enough to go into her personal wine cellar and pull out just some incredible wines. I mean, I love wine,
Mm.
but I am not to that
Yeah.
level of wine. Not yet, right? When I grow up, I'm going to have that kind of wine. And so she was kind enough. She's never done it before. It's not something she's even comfortable with, because it doesn't really serve the Vine and Olive, brand, because it's not her wine. So she just really wanted to do something good. And we were super laid back. We're like, so what should we do? How should we pull it off? And we called Justin Shoresman of the core group, and we just thought, Justin and Naomi would be a cool pair to talk about wine and do the auction. And it was supposed to be like 40 minutes. I was sitting in the back using our giving tool for like invoicing and just doing the event logistics side. But we're in this quiet room at Vine and Olive, have no idea what everybody else is feeling about our, show. All I can hear is Justin and Naomi, and then I can see the typing in the comment box. So it was awkward and different, but I think that that's just the time that we're in right now. It's awkward, different, make it happen.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I think this is a huge piece I have been in nonprofits in the area, and honestly, it is probably one of the most important, besides the Centennial Trail.
Yeah.
It is the most important nonprofit in our community. We need to serve the homeless and the kids, and
Mm-hmm.
there's stories that are incredible. So I just want to say congratulations, especially since you couldn't have your auction this spring.
Yeah.
That is a nice thing to do right now. So you can still give to the Children's Village. I'll put the links down in the comments, because if you feel like giving to a nonprofit, please give to the Children's Village. But also, this is a great topic that I thought, you'd be a great person to talk to about, is that we are in a weird time. And I feel there's a huge shift in nonprofits, in giving, even business.
Right.
And even restaurants, we're going to have to shift. And so I want to chat with you and your ideas and what your thoughts are on kind of as we come out of quarantine, stay at home, what your thoughts are on nonprofit and giving and events.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to say about it because we have seen a change in philanthropy over the last decade. Let me just shut this because somebody's mowing their lawn.
It's fine.
COVID life.
Thank God, right?
Children's Village is still closed, and I'm kind of a non-essential, so I'm still working at home. So a lot has been changing over the last decade, right? So our parents, in terms of philanthropy, they had a chosen place that they donated. So there's a lot of Harvard Business Journal reviews about the evolution of philanthropy over the last even decade. Each of the generations championed different causes. That's where we saw those really big organizations like my prior at the American Cancer Society. We saw that balloon into these like large national and even global organizations. The millennial population gives differently. So we see the millennials will give to their community, and their community could be virtual, right? So they could give to a large organization if their virtual community is giving. They're more transactional. They care, right? They care. We care. We are millennials. We care, but we care differently. We align in a more fluid way than our prior generations did. And so that was already happening. And then this happened, right? So now every organization has been launched into a virtual world. Depending on geographic location, we've been doing that. In my 7 years at San Diego, when Eric was stationed there as an F-18 pilot, I did see an evolution towards virtual. So we were using virtual giving for, the auctions and all the tools we know are there, but haven't really come to Coeur d'Alene, right? And for the right purpose. We're a different community.
Exactly.
So in times of these changes, we're just seeing some real big differences. There's some cool articles you can read about the comparison between the Great Depression and the economic downturn of 2008 and where we are headed. What we do see in philanthropy is people do want to give, and their alignment, their affinity to an organization is much stronger in these times. So it's important that nonprofits continue to ask. It's important that we continue, whatever nonprofit you are, showing what you're doing in the local community. Centennial Trail is a great example, right? We all are on that trail all the time, right? If you have anything to support that, you want to find something that you support, that you use, Centennial Trail, we're all on it, and we have to keep it beautiful. And the Children's Village, the kids, we know that financial stress is the biggest contributor to child neglect and abuse. So it is important. Right there.
Right by your window.
Perfect. So it is very important that we continue to give, especially to the families in our community who are going to need us, right? There's been a lot of job loss, a lot of income insecurity and housing insecurity. And so it's important that people really understand that the impact of their dollar, whether it's $5, $10, $20, $1,000, every dollar is making a difference right now. And it's really important you ask the right questions and that you give in ways that you can.
Yeah, and I agree. And your Facebook Live, and Naomi, that's awesome. And with your brain power and your background of already using this kind of technology, I think is awesome. And so I recommend for businesses and nonprofits to get creative right now. I know with the marathon in our Ales for the Trail, we're getting creative on how we're going to do things coming up this summer. And so I definitely take Vanessa's advice and start using those tools. We have them, and there's a lot of especially right now, there's some cheaper rates on using these things. People are willing to help right now, big companies.
Yeah, there's some really good entry offers, right? 60 days free. So you don't have to be a large organization. You don't have to pay a lot to stay relevant. Social media, as we know, is integral. It has been, and it has shown to be that much more important. And so people like, you and I, we understand the impact in giving with telling your story on a continual basis. So it's important that businesses, nonprofits, people, agility, you have to stay agile. What worked 2 months ago, put it on the table and question it.
Yeah, exactly.
It may not work now. Not only just last year, but 2 months ago when you created your fund development plan, you need to lay it all out and say, okay, what are we actually looking at in 2020? Because it's been a dumpster.
Yeah.
It's a little different now.
It's only May.
I thought 2019 was rough, but woo. So yeah, continue to stay agile in all ways.
And I think that was a really good point too, is the storytelling, is that we need to tell our story out on social media and different platforms, because that's what people are listening to.
Yep.
So let's have a little fun question. What is your favorite restaurant here in Coeur d'Alene?
So this isn't because of the fundraiser, it's definitely Vine and Olive. It was before, it's just now a lot stronger.
Now they're really doing it.
Yeah, I love their flatbread, like as like a, and their frits, and so good. And then I love that seasonal menu, and their wine is just to die for.
And the chickpeas.
The chickpeas are so good. They're so unexpected. Yes. Really.
So your favorite band or type of music?
I like Mumford. Mumford and Sons. Yeah, so when we were stationed in, God, where were we? Lemoore. Yeah, Lemoore, California, which is like outside of Fresno in the valley. There was a band called Poor Man's Poison that was just like Mumford, but it was a local, and they played at one of our friends' weddings, and so that's kind of what got me into that style. It was really fun. It was like a hot night. There was a pig roast. We were up at Big Bear. It was just a cool experience, and that's kind of why I really like country, but if it were my favorite, it would probably be like the Mumford style. I don't even know what that classifies as.
Yeah, it's what is it, indie or?
Yeah.
Jam band.
Yeah. And they're good. They're a good show. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What would be one piece of advice you would give a younger you?
Younger me. That's a hard one. I don't know. I mean, I want to tell myself to relax, but I'm a pretty high-strung human anyway. So that hasn't, I don't know if it serves me okay.
Yeah.
Maybe just enjoy things a little more instead of being like looking at the next thing. I'm the human that as soon as I knew that Eric was deploying for the second time, this was before kids, I signed up for my master's degree because, working 80 hours a week on massive events with the owners of football and baseball teams is obviously not enough to do. So maybe just chill, slow down a little.
Slow down.
Yeah, you don't have to do it all right now.
So I know here in North Idaho, things are starting to get lifted. We're starting to be able to go out to restaurants. We're doing things, but what is the one thing that you miss the most during the stay at home?
Gosh, it's tough. I'm kind of in a weird spot because my husband is an airline pilot. So to be frank, I miss the stability because it's gone. We have no idea what our future holds. And so when I say stability, that means like, I miss the kids having their friends at daycare, and I miss like the normal cadence. I do appreciate the slowdown that we've had. The kids are home, and but it's just been different. So yeah, I think I miss the stability. I just want to know, like before COVID, everything was just like I knew Eric's schedule. I knew when I was full-time mom for 24/7 and when I wasn't, and I just don't have any of that anymore. Granted, he is home. He's a nice little stay-at-home dad now, so see him at the park
once in a while.
He's not a hugger, but give him a pat because he needs it. It's tough.
All right. As we finish up, how can the community support you and the Children's Village? Just let us know what we can do to support you guys.
I mean, I think that's such an important question that we should all be asking every neighbor. And so from my perspective, be a good neighbor. And that comes as like me as a human, right? Like give me a pat on the back when you see me struggling with my toddlers. There are a lot of people in this community who are asset limited and income constrained before COVID. And there are a lot of children that need you right now. So that's my kids too. Give me a pat on the back. Buy me a glass of wine. It's tough. It's tough right now. But more importantly, honestly, I would say just be a good neighbor. Listen, ask the right questions when you see behaviors that you don't feel are good or they feel funny. Ask questions. Just show people that you're supporting them, because I don't know how we're going to come out of this. I think we're going to come out okay, but who's we, right? That depends on whatever human is in that situation, and people are going to need help. They needed it before and they're going to need more. So just ask questions.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Sorry for the perfectly timed neighbor yard work for somebody who doesn't even live there.
I love it. We're in COVID here.
Yeah. Have a good day.
You too.